Good morning, welcome to the channel. We're back with another episode. We're outside today. It might be a little bit windy, so my apologies beforehand. We're at this house where the homeowner has discovered frost in their bedroom window. This is their bedroom right here, I'll show you. That big window right there. And they discovered frost on their floor one day. It was underneath a pillow, I believe. She picked up the pillow and discovered a bit of frost on their hardwood floor upstairs. Originally I thought just the house was really cold, so I ended up going onto the roof and we measured up all the siding and exterior to do some rigid foam insulation around the exterior. In the process of doing that, I was pushing against that siding and I discovered it was spongy. I was like, oh, does this already have insulation? I didn't think it did because of the age of the house. I ripped off a piece of the vinyl siding and I discovered that there was insulation. There was pink 1.5 inch insulation beneath before the siding. So it's okay insulated, and I couldn't figure out why their bedroom was so cold as well as the rest of the upstairs until I came out here on their back patio and I noticed, I don't know if you'll be able to tell or not, but there's an overhang from their second story. So I'd say it's about a 12 to 16 inch overhang, and all of a sudden that made a lot of sense as to why they're probably experiencing such a cold upstairs. I'm guessing that this overhang isn't insulated properly. If the camera picks up on it, you can kind of see there's two different types of sheathing on the porch roof. This, which is the porch roof, and that's sloped downwards, and then there's this, which is more horizontal, and that is where the overhang is. So the goal for today is simple. It's going to be to remove a piece of that and to see if it is insulated up there. When I checked it out originally, I removed some pot lights from the inside, which is right through this window, and removed a pot light to see up into that where I thought would be a rim joist, and there wasn't a rim joist, but there was insulation. So I was like, oh, they've insulated up to that rim joist, and clearly that insulation that's basically continuing on with that wall, that same plane, clearly it's not insulating the bottom side of the floor where the overhang is. All that being said, let's clear this area and get some tools out, and hopefully it's as easy as just re-insulating. Get my little go everywhere pouch on me. It's nice to have the basic tools on me rather than having to get up and down all the time. Just for this stage. Once I get a little further, I'll probably put my nail pouch on. But why do I have a nice chisel in there? That's not good. Put that in there. Normally I hate wearing gloves because of dexterity and they never fit me properly, but I don't know what's gonna be up in that piece I ripped down, so I want to make sure my hands are covered from any rodent feces. Oh, I wasn't expecting steel. It's interesting. Hopefully that's not flashing for the siding or anything above. I don't think it is. Dang it. I don't know how they built this. Hopefully when I rip this down I don't find a can of worms that's expired. That'd be horrible. Oh, it's gonna be gross. Okay, let me try and rip this down. Get the old tin snips out here. Alright. There definitely comes a point when there's no return. Just can't tell if they've actually flashed it up for some reason. There'd be no reason to. I'm gonna remove this a few sections and then we'll try and tackle that plywood. Hopefully it comes down easy. This is built covering it, so already it's going to take longer because of that, but knowing it's just a demo job, we can wreck it. There is some insulation. You can see here it's old fiberglass, but it's not installed very well at all. This cavity over here, same thing. There's some gaps and voids, and it looks like it's overly stuffed. So insulation, even though you don't see it, is pretty important to install correctly. You shouldn't stuff it. You should fit it. You should cut it properly with no more of like a maybe half-inch variance in the size, and then you can do a friction fit. But if you don't install it correctly, it really decreases its efficiency in heating it. So I think what's happening is where they got their frost, honestly, it's probably just missing a chunk of insulation or something that's big enough for the cold to transfer to that spot. But we'll open up a few more of these and I'll get back to you as to what the overall picture looks like. I finally got that steel down. It was a pain because it was nailed on the top side, kind of like it should have been. But because they built this porch roof, it just took a little bit longer. But it's finally down to, it's like sheet metal basically. I opened up a couple more holes in that plywood, 1/4-inch plywood, the soffit they have up there. Poked a couple more holes up in there, and it looks like they just did a pretty bad job with the insulation. I'll actually show you. I think what they might have done is insulated from the interior. So they just kind of shoved their bats up in there hoping that it would fill the cavity properly, but there was gaps and it was all scrunched up, so there's going to be a lot of loss of heat through there. I'm going to come back now. It will be the next day and we'll continue on. It's the next day. I'm all set up and ready to go again. Should have enough time to finish this. I got my Sawzall. I didn't have that yesterday, so that should make a little quicker work with this plywood soffit here. I hope, because that steel was horrible. I'm gonna go ahead and rustle those out and then we'll remove whatever's up there and begin the next stage. Okay, I got that plywood soffit removed, all in these cavities. And looking a little closer at these cavities, you can see how the insulation has been installed. It's just kind of pushed up there and scrunched. There's some places where there's some voids and stuff. Looks like there's been a rodent in there maybe. So I'll go ahead now and rip all that down, and then we'll begin that next stage. Okay, I just pulled down that insulation. I just gave a 5-minute description of what my next move is, which won't work for the video, so I'm gonna condense that and basically say I can't. Traditional framing has a vapor barrier, or traditional house science incorporates a vapor barrier for the warm interior. When it hits the cold exterior, has a place to condense that moisture where it condenses and won't cause any issues to the internal wood framing or anything. I can't do that here because of how the porch is built. I would only be able to get 80%, which could cause more issues. So I'm gonna go with the method they use, not use a vapor barrier and just use a house wrap on the exterior. A long explanation without much detail, but I don't want to make the issue worse if what they have done hasn't caused any issues. They didn't add a vapor barrier. If I did add one, it could cause more damage actually. So yeah, it's still going to be 99% better probably than what they had there because their insulation was probably 80% there, and out of that 80% was probably 50% effective with just how it was installed. So we're going to do that a lot better. I'm going to start moving again. It's a little chilly. And I'll get back to you when I'm done that. I wasn't able to film those last couple hours, but essentially what I've done, I've gone ahead and installed Tyvek house wrap over top that insulation, which is this paper-like material. I've gone ahead and installed a J-mold on this edge here. And then this is essentially soffit. It's not quite because it's a bit wider. I think it's a fascia vinyl sheet, but I've gone ahead, cut that down, and that's gonna be what I'll be using as my soffit. That's essentially what we're after. So yeah, I just have to run out to the store and get some screws so I can screw this in. Because it's not siding, I don't have a nailing flange like siding would have. But I'll just grab some white soffit screws and pin this up, and then I'll give you the final look of how it finished off. I'm pretty happy with it. It's turned out after the struggle of the steel. All right, I'm back with some soffit screws, some white ones. And what I can do is I can pin this up just fine on this side where the J-mold is. I wasn't able to get J-mold in there properly because of this rim joist for the deck roof. So my solution's gonna be to use some spray foam and get it up in the back corner here, so as it expands, we'll put a bit of pressure on this soffit to keep it tight. Otherwise it might flap in the wind, or critters might be able to get up in there a little more easily. So it's an interesting solution. I think it will work. We'll find out really quick. I don't want to do too much because it's gonna bow the thin vinyl like crazy, but we'll do a little bit and kind of see how it goes. And again, I really don't want to do too much, so I'm only doing a little bit. And now I can fit my soffit piece. And just like that, that piece is in. It's already started to expand a little bit, keeping this side tight, and it's going to be a lot of a better seal. Using this method, I'm going to have to work a little more quickly because that this spray foam is going to set. So I'm going to carry on that with this row, and then we'll come back with the finished product. Alright, it is done. We finished it up, used that spray foam trick. It worked pretty well, I think. Here's the overall view. And that is going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one.